at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is prevent disease in humans and also organisms. I still introduce myself primarily as an environmental chemist. Why I sometimes like describing myself as an environmental engineer is that it is a little broader in terms of what we cover. As a chemist, if I stopped at just measuring the chemical in the sediment and said, well, it's up to the toxicologist to determine whether that level in the sediment is toxic or not, it doesn't really allow us to get at some of the issues about exposures. The ultimate goal of protecting public health and the environment is why I have that passion to do that. In those early days, when we were first doing some of these first measurements, we were using what we now call targeted LCMS, where we have an authentic standard of a compound. If we didn't know that something was out there and we didn't have an exact identity, it was very difficult to measure something that you don't know what it is. That's been a fairly recent development in the PFAS community, is recognizing that we can go look for things that we don't a priori know what they are. The real story came up when I started looking at these firefighting foams and recognized that if you look beyond PFAS, everything else that was intentionally added to the firefighting foams were precursors. We're talking about compounds that are not fully fluorinated, but have the potential to transform to the fully fluorinated perfluoroalkyl acids, which is what we are mainly focused on nowadays for toxicological assessments. These polyfluorinated substances we often refer to as precursors because they will form, under the right conditions, these perfluoroalkyl acids. And that can be in the environment, it can be in the atmosphere, it can be in water, it can be in soils, it can be in our bodies where those transformations happen. But those transformations can and do happen. That's why we care about these precursors. It's somewhat surprising that we're still trying to answer some of the same questions that I think we started out with, which is that there's a lot of these compounds out there. How do we measure them? How do we estimate them? How do we identify them? And I do think we're going to be working on this for a long time to come.